Hi guys, I'm Catherine. I'm here with another book review, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Night Swim by Megan Golding. And I really enjoyed this book. This book was more, I wouldn't say lighthearted because it has to do with a rape trial, but I love the way it was written. It was written very well, and it was written in a way that there's some parts that were hard to read and other parts, you could read. Also, this book is incredibly sad, but I absolutely enjoyed it. So this book is about a girl named Rachel, and she is a true crime podcaster, and she is in the third season of her true crime podcast, and she decided that she wants to do a real trial, for her podcast. So she goes to a town, and it's a little town, and she is covering a rape trial between a girl named Kelly Moore and a guy who raped Kelly. And this poor girl has been through so much, and she is traumatized from what happened to her, and she just basically wants the trial to be over with. And while Rachel's in town, you can see the hatred, basically, that they are blaming the victim, that it's all Kelly's fault. She was drunk, she was this, she was wearing that. And she, in her podcast, because when you get through several chapters of the book, it will be like one of them said season 3 episode 1, and it goes into a chapter. And I read it with the audiobook, and I honestly, if you guys have an option, I would read it with the audiobook, because when you are in the chapters where she's doing the podcast, they actually play music, and she is actually talking about her, you're reading about her podcast and she's talking about it. And I honestly feel like the audiobook was so good. Like, I would recommend it, honestly, if you read this book. I really enjoyed it, honestly. So that's what it's a little bit about. And she also, there's a girl in here named Hannah, who 25 years ago, she lost her sister due to drowning. But she also, Hannah writes to Rachel saying, look, I need your help. My sister was murdered 25 years ago. I need your help proving it. I need your help finding out who killed my sister. And first, Rachel was really kind of freaked out because, again, she found a note on her car, and she wants to help Hannah, but she's also covering this trial. And while the trial is going on, she's trying to figure out who killed Hannah's sister, which her name was Jenny. And you find out throughout the book, you find out some interesting and horrific things that happened to Jenny, which was the sister. So as of right now, you guys, I'm going to dive into spoiler territory. Please, if you guys haven't read the book, I don't want to ruin it for you. So please wait until you read this. Or if you have already read it and you know what I'm talking about, continue on. So, as I said before, this book takes place with Rachel and Hannah, and then it has flashbacks through letters with Hannah about what happened to Jenny. Now, in these letters, Hannah was very young. She was about 10. And Jenny was 16. So there's this one instance where they're coming back from the beach, and Hannah didn't want to walk, so these boys offered them a ride in this truck. So Jenny was sitting in the cab part with two boys were on the side of her. She was in the middle, and then Hannah was in the back. And from what I gathered, honestly, when Hannah got out of the truck, she's like, oh, Jenny, come on, let's go home, we're here. And the boy says, oh, Jenny doesn't want to go. We're going to take her and go fishing. So they ride off, right? And Hannah, as Rachel is reading these letters, Hannah says, but they're going the wrong way to go fishing. So right there, I knew something bad was going to happen. And so when she comes home, she is basically a mess. Her clothes look torn. She is crying. And then as you read, and their mom is also dying of cancer. So as, you know, things are going on in this book, you know, something bad happened to her. Like, you can, like, I honestly got that feeling. And honestly, this wasn't the first time she was going to be raped. It's probably going to be the third time, honestly. And the last little, like, it doesn't really, like, it, like with the Kelly Moore trial and all of that, with her trial, like, she does talk about her rape, and it's very heartbreaking, and it's very sad about what happens to her, but also, it's also horrific on what happens to Jenny. And as you go into detail, these boys that raped Jenny got into a bad car accident and mostly died except for one, and except for actually two. And there's just so much that goes into this book, like, you really have to read it. But the father of Kelly Moore, his name is Dan. Dan was one of the guys that raped Jenny. Now, Dan is the father of Kelly, of the girl that was raped. And when Hannah finds out who killed her sister, and asked Rachel to meet her at the jetty, which is a kind of this boat in, like, the ocean part, and a lot of kids used to jump off on it. And she's hiding in the shadows, and Hannah is, you know, waiting on the jetty for Dan to show up. When he finally shows up, and she's like, I want you to confess what you did to Jenny. I want you to confess that you gang raped her, and I want you to confess that you killed her. Well, he pulls out a gun, and Rachel, this whole time, she's recording it on her phone, and she's hiding in the shadows, and she comes out, and he says that he didn't mean to kill her. But what happened was, in the book, that when Bobby, who's one of the guys, Bobby cared about Jenny. He never tried to rape her, but I don't think he ever tried to stop it either, to be honest. He was just a bystander. That night he did try to stop it because they found Hannah in the phone booth trying to call 911. And one of the guys grabbed her and took her down where Jenny was. And they were lifting up her dress, looking at her underwear, telling her she's flat as a pancake. And, hey, Bobby, do you want to turn with her? The girl's 10, which is disgusting, which was making my stomach turn. But as it was going on, Bobby was like, no, like, you guys need to stop this. So Bobby attacks one of the guys, and then they have a bonfire going, and Bobby gets burned really badly. So they get Bobby to the truck, and they're going to take him to the hospital. And at some point, Dan decided, oh no, we forgot Jenny. She has evidence on her. And Hannah ran to try and go get help because Jenny couldn't move. So they also beat her up too. They had sex with her. So they knew that she had evidence on her. So Dan went back, grabbed Jenny, threw her in the ocean, and she drowned. That's how he killed her. And it's so heartbreaking because Hannah blamed herself this whole entire time for what happened to her sister. And at the very end of the book, which is, you know, it kind of makes me mad, But at the very end of the book, he goes on the run, and they get found. Hannah has to go to the hospital because Hannah let go into the ocean, and Rachel saved her. And so they go to the hospital, and Hannah gets checked out and everything, and she's fine. And at the very end of the book, they find out that Dan killed himself because he didn't want his story and what he did get out to his daughter and his family. And at some point, I understand Kelly went through a lot because she was also raped. But I also think that was like the coward's way out, and I didn't agree with it. And I was really mad, to be honest. And I enjoyed the book. I would give it honestly 5 stars. I would reread it again. I really enjoyed it. This book was really good for me, and I enjoyed, it talked about victim blaming, it talked just a lot of different things, and how a rape trial can be just as traumatic as the rape itself, which in the book I understand why it would be that way. And it was a sad book, but it was also a good thriller. And I really enjoyed it. I think I want to read more books from Megan Goldin. And I think I already have my eyes set on a couple from her. So, yeah, you guys, it was a great book, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. And if you guys haven't read it, highly recommend it. My next book it's going to be Into the Dark by Mike O'Meara, and that's going to be my next book review. But the next video you see, I'm going to be introducing you to my boyfriend. He is going to be coming on my channel with me. We're going to be talking about a movie we saw, and it's going to be very exciting. So you guys have a great day and a great morning, and have a good rest of your night. Bye!